Euan describes it. This is the fourth one we've done together, Long Way Home, and he describes it as our fourth honeymoon without the intimacy. Yeah, I mean, I think all of the trips that I've done, change you. Whatever it is that your passion is, that's the bit to live in the moment. I think without my wife, I don't think I could do what I do. At the beginning of the year, we went to the Azores to film. I did a documentary for Touratech, and I've never been to the Azores. I didn't really know what to expect, and it just turned out to be one of the most beautiful places. It's this tiny island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and when we arrived, and on the first day when we went out on the motorcycles, there was a big storm. I mean, it was really bad weather when we were there, and all the waves were crashing onto the side of this island. And my first feelings of being there was oh my gosh, we're in a very small island with this really big storm, and I felt really vulnerable there. I thought, oh my gosh, and I mean, anything could happen. I think when you start to travel around the islands in the Azores, and we were on the biggest island. What takes your breath away, I think, is the sheer beauty of the base. It's a volcanic island that sits on a plateau, and as you ride through, it's very green, very lush, very beautiful, and a lot of rain is there. But when you come up onto one of the old volcanoes, you come up on the rim of the volcano, and you're looking down, and you realize that you're looking down at this old volcano, but it's exactly what you would expect from a movie. Like in Jurassic Park or something like that. It's sheer beauty, and the way it's so green, and all the plants and the trees. It's very special, really special place. I think that's what I will always remember. Well, if you're talking about equipment to wear on an adventure, certainly in the Azores, a good waterproof is really important. And even when the weather is good there, you can have 3 seasons in an hour. So I think obviously when you travel in the Azores, it's especially there, you really need equipment that can deal with really nice hot sunny day, and then an hour later it can be raining. Freedom, I suppose freedom is I think in this world we live in now, where everything is now, we expect so much, and I think in the Western world we're very spoiled, and so sometimes it's really nice to go off and get on a motorcycle, and people talk about mental health and mindfulness, living in the present. And I think when you go off and ride a motorcycle for a day or a weekend or a few months or whatever it is, you when you get on the motorcycle and you're riding along, you don't have time really to think about what might happen or what I need to do or all the things I should have done. You're living right now, and as you're going along, you're living that piece of road. Whatever it is that your passion is, that's the bit to live in the moment. Oh wow! I think I think when I ride on these long journeys with Euan, even though you're riding with somebody, during the day you're both experiencing that piece of road. It's the same piece of road, but both of you see it in a very different way. So you get to the end of the day and you talk about that bit of journey, and both of you have a quite different opinion of the same piece of road, and that's nice, and I think I spoke about this before, but a long time ago, my sister passed away from cancer, and she almost 30 years ago now, and I was very lucky because she met my first daughter before she passed away. But then I had my first daughter, then I had my second daughter, and then work, and then all this kind of stuff was going on, and I never really had sort of time to think about my sister. And then when we did this big journey, you're sitting on a motorcycle for day after day, and your mind wanders, and you start to think about things. And I often think about my sister when we're riding. I always feel she's sitting on my shoulder with me, and it's a really nice feeling. And so I feel very grateful to be able to have that time on a motorcycle, to be able to, and not just thinking of my sister, but thinking of friends and people I knew when I was in school I hadn't thought about for a long time, or whatever it is. So that's what I like very much about riding motorcycles. I do a lot of my big motorcycle riding with Euan. We've known each other for 30 years, and from the first time we met each other on a movie set, we were making a movie together. Our first conversation was about motorcycles, and then I spoke to him this morning, and he was buying a new bike, and we were talking about picking it up today. So 30 years later, we haven't talked about anything else other than that. So when you ride, I think with someone like Euan, who's a best friend, you know each other really well, and both of us have grown. And every time we do a different trip together, we notice the development of our relationship, of who we are, and how I think at the beginning, it was a little frustrating sometimes because you would experience something that day, but the other person had experienced something different, and so it took us time to realize that actually, what's wonderful about riding motorcycles is that you can both be riding together, but you can have a very different experience every day. You can have a different experience of each other. So that's really nice. So, and depending on each other, so that if I get out of the tent on the wrong side of the tent one day and I'm not in a good mood, Euan can understand to maybe give me space or to say something to make me laugh. Or so Euan describes it. This is the fourth one we've done together, Long Way Home, and he describes it as our fourth honeymoon, without the intimacy. Yeah, it was really nice. I mean, to be involved with Touratech, and our relationship goes back a very long way. I think even before I did Long Way Round with Euan, which is sort of 21 years ago, I remember going to the British Motorcycle Show and picking up a big catalogue from Touratech and having that at home, and so in the mornings when you're sitting on the toilet, reading the catalogue and going through the pages and having a wish list, with the panniers. The panniers are synonymous to Touratech, the aluminium ones. And then when Euan and I, then we managed to begin this lovely relationship sort of 21 years ago. And really, kind of ever since then, we've always been doing something with Touratech. I did the Dakar Rally with them in 2006. They helped build our Dakar bikes. And then we did Long Way Down together, Long Way Up. We had a little bit of some bits and pieces from you guys. And then on this last trip, Long Way Home, I used your panniers, your soft panniers, which are amazing. So yeah, I think our relationship goes back a long way. And it's not just a business collaboration. It's a friendship collaboration. It's something that all of us kind of benefit from each other, really. I spend a lot of time away. I can sometimes up to 7 months of the year I'm away. Not all at the same time, but over the year, a month here, 2 months there, whatever it is. I think one of the good things about this traveling is that whenever we do a trip, we always try to get my wife and my kids to come to the end, and so we all meet at the end of the adventure, and then I choose a few of the really nice places we've been to, and sometimes we go back with the kids, and so that they can experience a little bit of what I went through. And by going away all together, because you haven't been together for 3 months or 4 months, it can be quite awkward sometimes to just step back into family life. So the thing that makes a relationship work is the partner that you're with. And I think without my wife, I don't think I could do what I do.